Welcome to NFL Nexus. So, the Detroit Lions, they're not the underdogs anymore, are they? They are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Today, we're not just running through a mock draft. We're actually stepping inside their 2026 war room to figure out the high-stakes strategy it takes to find those final crucial pieces for a championship run. And really, that's the question that drives everything for this team right now. The Lions are way past the rebuilding phase. They're not looking for guys who might develop in a few years. They are reloading for a real shot at the title, right now. And that shift, it completely changes how you approach the draft. Every single pick becomes a potential final piece of that Super Bowl puzzle.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll set the stage with one single stat that really defines this entire draft for them. Then we're going to dive into the massive decision they face at pick 17, find some serious value on day 2, try to unearth some of those late-round gems, and then finally, we'll see how it all comes together to build a championship roster.
Listen, we are getting into the weeds today. So if you're into this kind of deep dive analysis, do us a favor and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Oh, and hit that like button too. It honestly helps us out a ton and lets us keep making these. All right, let's do this. Before we even look at a single prospect, we have to talk about the core issue with this team. We've got to understand their single greatest asset, which kind of weirdly is also their biggest vulnerability. And it all comes down to one guy. I mean, think about it. We're in an era with guys like Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, just packed with unbelievable quarterback talent. But there is one player who has put together a level of consistent, elite production that is literally unmatched by anyone else in the league over the last 3 seasons.
And this number right here, 30 plus. That's the magic number. We're talking touchdown passes in a single season. It's kind of the benchmark for elite quarterback play in today's NFL. Doing it once, that's great. Doing it year after year after year, that's the mark of a true franchise QB.
And here it is. This stat from Warren Sharp, honestly, it's kind of staggering when you see it. The full list of quarterbacks who have thrown for 30 or more touchdowns in each of the last 3 seasons has one name: Jared Goff. That's it. End of list. This isn't just some fun trivia, you guys. This is the entire engine that powers the Lions' Super Bowl hopes. So, here's the catch. You have this incredibly productive, elite-level quarterback, but he's playing behind a line that's got some serious leaks. This data from Sports Illustrated is, well, it's alarming. The O-line finished 31st, that's second to last, in pass blocking grade. And you can see the impact right there. When Goff is kept clean, he's a top 10 QB in the league in efficiency. But the second he feels pressure, his performance falls off a cliff, dropping all the way to 25th. This makes the mission crystal clear. Protecting Jared Goff isn't just a priority, it is the absolute non-negotiable foundation of their entire 2026 draft.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump into the first round and see how this all plays out. With the 17th overall pick, GM Brad Holmes is at a really fascinating crossroads. He's got 3 very different, very strategic ways he can go, all with the same goal: get one step closer to that Lombardi trophy.
All right, option 1. This is the simplest path, right? Just trust your scouts, trust your board, and grab the best player who fills a need right there at number 17. No crazy trades, no fancy moves, just good, solid drafting.
And look, the really interesting thing about just staying put at 17 is the sheer quality and variety of talent that's going to be staring you in the face. Just look at this list. If protecting Goff is priority number 1, you've got 2 potential starting tackles in Proctor and Lomu. If you want to beef up the D-line, you got options there. Edge rushers, safeties. It's not a situation where they're backed into a corner. The depth right here gives them incredible flexibility. Okay, let's zoom in on a couple guys here that make a ton of sense. First up, Caden Proctor, the offensive tackle. He is a huge, powerful lineman who could step in on day 1 and start. He would be the immediate answer to that pass protection issue. Then on defense, you got a guy like Dylan Thieneman, the safety. He's super smart, super versatile, a real leader for the secondary. Adding a player like him doesn't just help in coverage, it gives your pass rush more time to get to the quarterback. Both these guys would be instant impact players.
Okay, option 2. This is the aggressive move. This is the Brad Holmes we've seen before, right? Never afraid to go get his guy. This means packaging up that 17th pick with some other picks to move up, maybe into the top 10 or 12, and grabbing a true blue-chip, game-changing talent. Now, when you trade up, the pool of players gets smaller, yeah, but the quality, it's absolutely packed with potential franchise cornerstones.
As you can see, the focus gets laser sharp, especially on those elite offensive tackles and game-wrecking defensive players who probably won't be there at 17. And the big fish here, the guy you'd be trading up for, is offensive tackle Spencer Fano. He is widely considered one of the best, if not the best, offensive linemen in this whole class. He is a true set-it-and-forget-it kind of guy for the blind side. Landing Fano isn't just a fix for this year, it's a 10-year investment in keeping your franchise QB healthy. But that kind of talent is expensive. To jump up that high, the Lions would almost certainly have to give up their second-round pick, and maybe more. It's the definition of a high-risk, high-reward move. All right, on to option 3, and this one is all about playing the numbers game. This means moving back from pick 17, letting some other team come up for a guy they love, and in return, you get more draft picks to build out the depth of your entire roster. It's a strategy that favors quantity over one single player. So if you move back a bit, maybe to the late first or early second round, a whole new group of players comes into view. You probably miss out on a truly elite guy like Fano, but look at the quality you can still get. You can still land a starting offensive lineman, a solid edge rusher, or a good corner, all while adding more picks to your arsenal. And a guy who's a perfect example of the kind of value you can get here is Chase Bisontis, an interior offensive lineman. He is just a powerful, mauling guard who fits that physical, kneecap-biting identity that Dan Campbell has built in Detroit. He's a solid player. And the real prize here is the value. By just moving back a handful of spots, the Lions could probably snag an extra third-round pick, and that is just pure gold for building out a championship-level roster. Hey, before we jump into day 2, just a quick thing. We absolutely love putting this much detail into these explainers for you. If you appreciate this kind of deep dive and want to help support NFL Nexus, a really fun way to do that is to check out our coloring books. They're great for Lions fans of any age, kids, grandkids, you name it. You can scan the QR code on the screen or just use the link in the description. Your support is seriously what lets us keep doing this. We really appreciate it. Okay, now let's get to day 2. All right, let's dive into day 2, rounds 2 and 3. And look, this is where the real work gets done. First rounders get all the attention, but day 2 is where the core of a championship roster is really forged. So let's start with the Lions pick at number 50. So at pick 50, top of the second round, there's a name the Lions have to be looking at, Gabe Jacas, the edge rusher from Illinois. You know, Jacas is pretty much the prototype for what you want in a second-round edge rusher. He's got a powerful NFL-ready body and a ton of pass-rushing potential just waiting to be unlocked. And his fit in Detroit, it's perfect. He gives you immediate depth and could become the long-term partner across from Aiden Hutchinson. Just think about that for a second. Offenses couldn't just slide all their protection over to Hutch anymore. A guy like Jacas forces one-on-ones, and that's how you completely destroy a passing game. Getting that at pick 50 is just incredible value. Okay, let's kick off day 3, starting in the 4th round. This is where you can find some absolute freak athletes who slipped for whatever reason, maybe size, maybe scheme fit, and a perfect example of a potential steal right here is linebacker Harold Perkins Jr. from LSU. And Perkins, man, he is the definition of a modern do-it-all linebacker. His best trait is just elite track star speed and crazy versatility. He can run sideline to hunt down running backs. He can cover tight ends. You can even use him as a blitzer. In Aaron Glenn's defense, a player with his skills is a true chess piece. He can move him all over the place to create mismatches. Finding that kind of game-changing athleticism in the 4th round, that would be an absolute steal. All right, now we're getting deep into day 3. Rounds 5 through 7. This is all about finding those hidden gems, the guys who win on the margins. You're looking for players who can jump in on special teams right away and hopefully develop into key role players down the road. So, in the 5th round, you see a name like Kaytron Allen from Penn State, and you just think, yep, that's a Detroit Lion. This guy is just a tough, physical between-the-tackles grinder. He's not flashy, he's not going to wow you with breakaway speed, but he is going to run hard and always fall forward. He is the definition of that grit mentality. You've already got David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and Allen is that perfect cheap depth piece who can just come in and punish a defense. He's a classic Dan Campbell player. And let's wrap it up in the 7th round. You know, even this late, you're not just throwing darts at a board. You're looking for specific traits that you think you can develop. And a guy who fits that description is cornerback Sayar Wright.
See, in the 7th round, it's all about betting on treats, and Wright has them. He has good size for a corner and a lot of raw athletic potential that you just can't teach. He's a project for sure, his technique needs work, but the coaching staff's job is to take that raw clay, that size and athleticism, and see if they can mold it into an NFL player. It's the definition of a low-risk, high-reward pick that could really pay off in a couple of years. Okay, so we've walked through all the rounds, looked at all the different types of players. Let's bring it all home. After looking at everything, what's the ultimate roadmap for the Lions to turn this draft into a true championship caliber roster?
And it really all boils down to those 3 paths we talked about. There's the aggressive path, go all in, trade up for a franchise tackle like Spencer Fano. There's the balanced path, just stay put at 17 and get a quality day 1 starter. And then there's the value path, trade down, get more picks, and build out your depth. The most important thing to remember is that for a team like the Lions, there's no single right answer. Each path is a totally valid strategy, and the one Brad Holmes chooses will tell us everything we need to know about how he views this championship window. And that really brings me to my last question, and this one is for all of you. We've laid out the whole board, the different ways they could go, the key players, so now I want to know what you think. For all the Lions fans and draft nuts watching, what is the single most important thing Brad Holmes has to do in this draft? Do you go all in to protect Goff? Do you take the best player available? Or do you play the value game and build depth? Go ahead and drop what you think in the comments below. I really want to see what you guys have to say. Thanks so much for hanging out with us for this deep dive here on NFL Nexus. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next one. We'll see you then.